Welcome back. It's another gloomy day here on the Darling Downs. I'm going to be getting a lot of rain today, starting in an hour. So I'm quickly out walking the dog before I got to head off for work. I meant to get like up to 30 mil today, another 20 mil tomorrow. So that will be good if we actually do get that, because we've just been getting a few light showers here and there. We really do need a good rain soak. So hopefully we get that. But yeah, I want to talk about the Australian federal government's latest budget, because that got released like a few days ago or a week ago. It's a bit while ago now, but anyway, it's still relevant, of course, because it's just been released. And there's a lot of people talking about it. I just had to read, through some articles on some of the highlights of it, listening to some other commentators, what they had to say, and I just want to share my take on this, because there in this budget, like, there's maybe one or two good things that are an improvement, but the rest of it, some of the other stuff is just complete crap from the federal Labor government. And really, to me, what does it look like? It just looks like another tax grab. They just want more money, just want to grab more of our hard-earned money. It's a tax grab. That's all it is. That's all it is. The biggest thing that people are talking about is probably the change to capital gains tax. Now, the way things have worked, the way it's worked for the last while in Australia, if you hold an asset longer than 12 months, you can basically get a 50% capital gains discount, which they were saying in the past, okay, that's meant to help people getting started with investing, so on and so forth, and also especially help small businesses, all that. Well, now that's essentially going away. There's no more capital gains discount, and now they're painting it as, okay, we are we're cracking down on the institutional investors, and we want to help the regular worker and all this stuff, but not realizing that, well, they do probably realize it, but they're not realizing that the share market is often what people use to try to get ahead of inflation and save money, especially save a deposit in today's economy. So essentially now they're saying, okay, we're increasing the base capital gains tax to 30% for like institutional investors, so on and so forth. Now basically from this, Australia will have the highest capital gains tax in the world, with the baseline of 30% going all the way up to 47%. Just think, 47%. So you have a small business, right? They go under, they need to sell their assets. Essentially, the government is going to come in and take half of that, almost half of that. So capital gains tax now up to 47%. It just seems like a tax grab for me, because they're running a bigger and bigger deficit, of course, every year, even though by other accounts they're taking in more money. Look, NDIS, that's a big thing at the moment, with all the NDIS fraud being uncovered. Then they're promising to put tighter screening and to really crack down on NDIS fraud, all that, which is like, you should have been doing that stuff anyway. And let's just say I'm skeptical on their ability to go ahead and do that, because look, the NDIS is meant to help the most vulnerable people in our country. NDIS, for those of you overseas, it's the National Disability Insurance Scheme, so it's meant to help people with actual disabilities. And by accounts, it has helped people with actual debilitating conditions, disabilities. It has helped people, but at the same time, there's a lot of people on the scheme that shouldn't be on the scheme, and especially with NDIS providers, there is people rorting the system big time. Shout out to my man Drew Pavlou, and I forgot the other guy's name. It was Drew Pavlou and another guy. They did a documentary on NDIS fraud recently, and let's just say it's eye-opening. It's very eye-opening. There's still people in denial, but come on, man, like, the NDIS, it costs $50 billion a year, so that's basically more than our entire military budget spent on this scheme. And funny fact, NDIS costs more than Medicare, which, how the heck does that make sense? I know you have if you guys are from the US, I know you have a Medicare over there as well. It's different. Medicare is not the same as over there. Medicare is basically our universal healthcare. It's not exactly universal as such, not like some other countries, like in Australia, for instance, you can still get private health cover, but you don't have to. Like Medicare is, like, I don't have private health cover. Every time I've had to go to hospital and stuff, I've used Medicare, right? And yeah, when I was growing up, for instance, Medicare tended to work pretty well. There's been increasingly issues with it, of course, system being under strain. But NDIS costs more than Medicare. How the hell does there's a scheme that's meant to address one part of the one area of health, like disabilities and all that. How does that cost more than what is meant to cater to our entire health industry? How does that work? So I'm just wondering, how does that work? But yeah, the capital gains thing is just ridiculous. Like I have investments, right? We have a thing in Australia called superannuation, which is other countries have some similar things under different names. I think in the US you have like 401ks or whatever, basically like funds where you can save for retirement. The difference here is superannuation is compulsory. If you're employed in Australia, superannuation is compulsory, where basically before you even get your paycheck, of course the government will take tax off that, and then at least 9.5%, 10% has to go into superannuation. So you have to pick a superannuation fund, or your employer often will just do that for you. So they'll take tax and then they'll take another 10% and just stuff it into a superannuation fund. And they say it sounds good on paper, like it was introduced in the 90s, I believe. And they said, okay, it's meant to help people save for retirement, and it's meant to basically lessen dependency on the aged pension. So essentially, like, you put away a bit of money across your working life, and then at the end, once you get to retirement age, you can draw on your superannuation. All right, sounds good on paper because you can save up money that way, and then you're not reliant on the age pension. It's meant to reduce strain on the system, except it has not worked at all, because the proportion of Australians that are dependent on the age pension has not decreased at all. In fact, it has increased since superannuation has been introduced. And superannuation is a whole industry in and of itself. There's so many hidden fees, and just it's all artificially, propped up by the state. And the biggest gripe I have with superannuation is, number one, it's compulsory. It should not be compulsory. All right, it's all right to have a scheme like that, but that should be voluntary. But it isn't. It's compulsory. That's my number one gripe with it. My number two gripe is especially with all the hidden fees and everything, it often underperforms the market. Like, so I have a superannuation going as well, but I also have my own investments going. I invest into ETFs. I'm not going to talk about my investing portfolio, but I invest into ETFs, index funds, stocks, and overall, like, my investments, right? I've been doing it for about 18 months now. My investments are now worth more than my superannuation. Like, and that's from I haven't done that much. I haven't done that much with it, really. Like, I've just been invested in an index of stocks, basket of stocks. Haven't really paid much attention to it. Just been regularly putting money into there after each paycheck. Like, I set it up like to do $10 a day. Actually, I saw $10 Australian dollars a day. And over the last 18 months, and now it's worth more than my superannuation. It's gone up and down a bit, but overall performed very well. Like, I put 5% of it is Bitcoin as well. The way I'm investing, and just like a basket of like one of it is like the ASX 200, so the 200 largest companies in Australian stock exchange, so on and so forth. So yeah, I invest in stuff like that. I'm not going to go over the breakdown exactly, but yeah, look, I've done that myself. I just did my own research, and this is not intended to give financial advice, by the way. But yeah, I did that myself. Just over the last 18 months, I started, and yeah, I've been working now. Well, 2026, I got out of high school. 2020, it's worth more. I put quite a bit of money into it, actually. For a while I was doing much more than $10 a day. And yeah, anyway, now it's worth more than my superannuation and has by far outperformed it. So I can essentially do a much better job than these big super funds just by having a simple investment strategy. Like some of these funds, it's like, what the hell are they doing? Honestly, like it's not transparent. So I have a big gripe with superannuation. By all accounts, I would say superannuation has failed. Like there's so many people, like you have a set amount that you need to live a comfortable retirement. So many people in superannuation has fallen short. There's all these hidden fees. The system's not transparent. It should not be compulsory. It should be voluntary, if at all. I say more and more, the state just has to get the fuck out of our lives. Leave it alone, honestly. So many of these problems can be fixed if the government just gets out of our lives. But yeah, that's how it is here. And yeah, what else? What else is there? Okay, for a while, Labor was promising, they're going to give us more affordable housing. Like, oh, look at Labor. Labor's the party of the worker. Hoo, yeah. We're going to crack down on negative gearing. Okay, negative gearing is another big topic. Basically, negative gearing has been like where if you buy like a second property or investment property, you can get all these tax concessions on it, right? You can use it to write off your tax, right? That's basically what negative gearing is in a nutshell. Use investment properties to write off tax, and that's of course benefited people who have multiple properties, investors, especially boomers who are better off, right? So now essentially, like, okay, then at the election they're promising to get rid of negative gearing and to crack down on it. Well, now they've partially done that, but basically what they've done now is, okay, for new builds you won't be able to negatively gear anymore. So essentially young people who want to have their own home and all that, they won't be able to negatively gear. But people who already have like 20 investment properties who are negatively gearing, and especially a lot of the politicians themselves have multiple properties and they are negatively gearing, they can keep their negatively geared properties and keep making money from it. But oh yeah, young people are even more screwed than we already are. So yeah, that's that. Then they're just completely backtracking on what they promised. And another thing they promised, okay, they promised to like look into introducing a gas export tax, because in Australia, right, we have all these multinational companies. They come in, they dig up our resources, our gas, our natural resources, all that, some minerals. Australia is one of the most resource-rich countries in the world, yet we, the people, barely get anything from it. And yeah, gas was a big one that's been on the highlighted over the last 12 months. Or longer than that, but especially the last 12 months, there's been a same campaign saying, okay, we need to really introduce a gas export, like a 25% gas export tax, so at least we can get a portion of the money that's being made with our resources, right? For example, Norway, for instance, they have like among the largest sovereign wealth funds in the world. They export gas, oil, and their sovereign wealth fund is worth over $1 trillion. Belongs to the citizens of Norway, and they like essentially use that to like build infrastructure, so on and so forth. Our sovereign wealth fund is tiny. We should have a massive sovereign wealth fund with what we've done. Like some of the Arab Gulf states have done something similar. Singapore, a country with no natural resources, has built up a massive sovereign wealth fund. We have almost nothing. We just have almost $1 trillion of debt, and yeah, we get basically nothing from our natural resources. And now they've sort of backtracked and saying, oh yeah, well no, we're not going to introduce 25% gas export tax. And this is Labor, the left-wing government. They are not doing that, and they are meant to be the party for the workers. We want to get what's right for the Australian worker. Well, how does this help the Australian worker? By just not getting us anything for our own resources, right? And essentially the crazy thing is, right, so in Australia we make more money from beer than we do from our own natural resources. From the beer excise, like I looked at the budget, from the beer excise tax, they take in like 2.4 billion dollars. From the current gas royalties is like 1.8 billion. More money from beer excise than gas exports, from a country that is like has some of them largest reserves of natural resources, minerals, coal, iron, gas. It's just, man, crazy. And people still buy into all this propaganda. Oh, Labor, vote Labor, because Labor is the party of the workers. It just infuriates me. It does. Really infuriates me. Oh, Labor is the party of the workers. Vote Labor. Yeah, right. You're right. And then these people wonder why a party like One Nation is rising. And ooh, how can you vote for Pauline Hanson? How can you support One Nation? Ooh. This is why. This is why people are going to One Nation, because look, the Liberal National Coalition, they're really no better than Labour, right? They've been weak on all these issues as well. They're just as much to blame. So people are saying, all right, enough of the two-party system. Let's go for One Nation. And look, I don't agree with everything One Nation does or says, but at the same point now, I will vote for them. I will vote for One Nation happily over the two major parties, because they need to be punished for what they've done to this country, right? They really do. They really do. I'm sick and tired of these games, and I'm just sick and tired of people who still buy into this propaganda, saying, support Labour, support Labour. Cost of living has continued to go up. They haven't stuck to any of their promises, and this budget is just another symptom of that. Like, the deficit, nothing's being done to address the current deficit. We're being squandered. Like, all our resources are just being squandered and just shipped overseas, and we don't get anything from it. And yeah, I've already talked about superannuation and the capital gains thing. Like, look, New Zealand, let's just look at New Zealand by comparison with capital gains, right? Now, New Zealand has a lot of problems of its own. There's lots of Kiwis that move to Australia for better job opportunities. But one area where New Zealand has got it right is capital gains. New Zealand's capital gains tax is 0. That's right, New Zealand doesn't have capital gains tax. 0. I'm of the strong belief that there should not be capital gains tax. Because look, if you look at your average person who's investing, no, I'm not talking about the big institutions or the big investors. I'm just talking about your average person who might be trying to build up. You can even build up like a deposit for a house, or just to put some money on the side for investing, just trying to get a bit ahead financially. Your average person, right? They just want to do that, just get ahead financially. And for the most part, like the money that your average person, myself included, puts into investments, that's already been taxed. That's already been taxed. Like, you earn you earn a wage from your job, right? The government takes a portion of that in tax, and then you get your after-tax income. From that money, that's what most people then use to invest in, the stock market, buy shares. That money has already been taxed. It's already been taxed. Then you sell it off, capital gains. They're taxing it twice, even 3 times, sometimes probably more, multiple times. That money has already been taxed. That's what pisses me off with this. There should be no capital gains tax, all right? We already pay tax on everything we earn. Then we put some of that money aside into stocks, ETFs, into the share market, right? Just try to get ahead and build ourselves a nest egg. Because for instance, I don't trust, my superannuation is growing, of course, because I'm working and they take 10% of my income and put it into super. I don't trust to be able to access superannuation. I don't trust that it'll be there to support me. I'm just essentially treating that as written off income. If I would be able to access that at retirement, if there even still is a functioning system by the time I could retire, then okay, I'll be happy. But I'm not trusting that. So I am doing my own research, my own investments, and yeah, basically just making my own financial decisions based on that, right? That's the way I'm going with it. I'm taking it into my own hands. I'm investing, saving money on the side. And yeah, look, people treat superannuation as this holy grail. Oh, you cannot talk about the holy grail of superannuation. Like, you will get crucified for criticizing superannuation. It's treated as one of the best political accomplishments in that any government's ever done in this country. I say it's a scam. I say it's a big scam. People are just being scammed out of their money once again. The system's there to rot you, and yeah, it just pisses me off, especially as a young person who's just trying to get ahead. And just people who still support Labour, especially. I don't support either of the two major parties, but especially people who still support Labour, and look, especially boomers who just blame young people for everything. It's like, yeah, I don't understand these people. I don't understand it. It's just ridiculous. The opportunities that older generations have had to save and invest and grow wealth, it's becoming more and more impossible for young people to get. And then they wonder why people aren't having kids, why young people are struggling so much, why there's all these mental health issues. Well, this is a big reason why. The opportunities that our forefathers had For the large part, it's been squandered, and younger generations are not going to have the same problems as our forefathers. We're not. So I'm sick and tired of this nonsense. But yeah, I've got to get going, got to get to work. So that's it for today. I'll talk more about this issue in the future. Apart from that, see you all in the next one. Onwards and up.